But you were sick last week,
Oh my God, yeah. My
and
voice was gone. I had to teach,
in-laws.
and they were there, and we cooked for them, and there was energy to be spent and things to do. But I made it. I made it. And there's just 1 week more before I'm in paradise.
Is that what you call Spain?
I do. I call España my paradise, my paradiso. I love it.
Well, I guess it's good to go to paradise before you go to Washington, D.C. Hi, everybody. Welcome to YouTubers United, the podcast for growing YouTubers by growing YouTubers. I'm Tristan Johnson, and I'm here with Will Fox, as per usual.
Oh, hey.
And we have an action-packed show today filled with twists and turns, possibly a romance. You never know. You never know what's going to happen on this show. Uh, Obviously, we're talking a little bit about how the show did not come out last week. Will had everything happen to him, so we took the week off, and now we're back. And next week you'll be in Spain, so there's going to be
Oh,
a whole lot of changes going on, and maybe we could talk a little bit about what it's like to have a YouTube channel on the go, because I don't think you're moving everything with you, right? You're just kind of living there for a few
No.
months.
Yeah, not even a few months, a few weeks. So my wife is doing an internship with a company in Madrid. So I've decided this is a big thing, Tristan. So I've decided to take the whole month off of teaching. For those of you who don't know, I'm a freelance English teacher here in Germany. I've told work I'm not available, and I'm taking the full month to invest in YouTube. So I'm going to Spain. I'm focusing on my health and my channel. And yeah, it's going to be a big deal for me, at least. Pass or fail, it's going to be crazy.
You're burning the ships. It's going to be a good experiment.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about it because there is the fact that my excuse always when I don't get things done is, well, I've got other things going on. I got to work, I've got other responsibilities. I've got my students. I've got to prep classes and, commute back and forth from different places where I teach. But yeah, if I've got a month of nothing but, blue skies and a computer, then what's my excuse if I don't get things done in March? Which is why I'm concerned. I'm nervous about my own self-discipline in that time there.
I'd be excited. I mean, it'd be nice to think that like I could do nothing but YouTube in like a period where, YouTube doesn't even get the majority of my attention these days. There's this whole dissertation I'm expected to write at some point.
Nah, get some priorities, Tristan. Jesus.
So to start up the show, we should talk a little bit about our guest from last week. So JT, going from his like 12,000 subscribers to 70,000, has apparently just like decided, I'm just going to tack on another 30,000 in the preceding 2
Homeboy
weeks.
tacked on a digit. He tacked on a 0.
Yeah, he's at 100,000. He made a big thing about it. It was pretty cool. So if you guys are looking for the YouTube success story, realize where he was and where he went in such a small amount of time, which means that JT is a pretty good person to study when it comes to how to YouTube successfully, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And also you can learn about how arbitrary the universe is and work yourself into a nihilistic dark place to realize that YouTubing, while there is a lot of things you can do to load the dice, it is at the end dice.
Every video is a roll of that dice, and I think JT had. What JT told us last week was, he had that one video that brought so much traffic to his other videos, and then if you take that, combine it with the fact that he's been uploading consistently now, man, he's going places. It's incredible, and JT, from both of us, first of all, thanks for coming on our show, and second of all, congratulations, man. That's amazing, and we're gonna keep an eye on you in the next week, the next month, the next years, I would say.
And it gives a lot of credence to my theory that the best way to get more subscribers is to have more subscribers. I.e., like, you grow faster the more subscribers you have because you're getting access to more people sharing your stuff, and more watch time means more promotion, more et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely, and just to give everyone a preview of what we're going to be talking about today, we're always about the authentic experiences and the actionable advice. We have lots of actionable advice today. That's really going to be the focus. We're going to be talking about channel trailers, and we're going to be giving a channel review. And then for our Q&A, we're going to be talking about whether you should focus on your passions or focus on getting those clicks. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to digest in this episode. But before we get into it, Tristan had another release, another collaborative video that he made with Cypher, the Cynical Historian. Tristan, how's that video going? You said off air that it was getting a lot of attention, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's doing reasonably better than my typical videos. I think it might be because, the sickle and hammer is one of those icons that when it shows up on a thumbnail, people are more likely to click. But also because it's about communism and it has a nice name thing, when capitalism almost disappeared, which I thought was a neat name. But it's also, it's the two towers in my Lord of the Rings style video making where I did 3 at a time.
Well, I would not have described it that way. That's awesome. I have some positive feedback for you too.
Aw.
Yeah, so I know that you told me off air as well. We have all the good conversations off air, not really. You told me off air that this was like you just finished another script for Step Back 2.0, and that it was one of the scripts you were super happy with. But I already have some positive feedback from this collaboration you uploaded this week, and that was, first of all, I'm noticing now more and more that there's lots of original assets, which I think is good. So I'm noticing that much more. That you created like the Monopoly Man version, the capitalist dude in your style. That was really good. So that's the number one thing. Second, I just noticed that in general there is a heightened level of narrative. It seems like, I know that you didn't write it with like the narrative line in mind, but I noticed that there was an effort there to dramatize a little bit and to kind of tell a story, and I think it's going to pay dividends if you work in that direction in the future.
And that definitely is the direction I plan on going. I have a new way of writing my scripts that I've been trying. This is kind of halfway through. This is kind of maybe Step Back 1.5, but Step Back 2.0, I just finished like a script that did all the things that I wanted to do. I did the research the way I wanted it to do. I wrote the script in the way I wanted to. It's a collaborative script, so it went back and forth a few times, but still, it's very narrative. I had my patented little focus group now give me some advice, and I actually consulted with an actual historian of the period I'm doing the video on. So it's all really really exciting for the next script. And I can't wait to start animating, where I'm also going to be changing stuff up because I'm going to do some pencil and paper storyboarding and tracing into vector programs, and like hopefully the art will be kicked up quite a bit.
Damn, dude, I wish I could. I was thinking when I read these books that I use for my videos, I'd love to talk with these people, and I don't know how to go about approaching them or approaching historians that have expertise. Do you have any insight into that? Like, is it weird if you say, hey, I'm going to be using your book in a video, would you mind, like, I don't know, talking to me or looking over my stuff to make sure I didn't misrepresent your work? Is that what you did when you talked to them?
Well, I got lucky because there's actually a historian of this period who I work with, and she's my boss, and I've taken classes with her, and she and I are on good terms. But this is the advantage of actually working in a history department. Yeah. But honestly, a lot of professors are like people who are university faculty. While they are busy people, they also are not as big celebrities as you think they are. And so if you go and talk to them and say what you're doing, and you want to make sure that you represent their work faithfully, they will definitely, or I can't say for sure, but they are very likely to be cooperative and help out.
I've got to get that into my workflow at some point. I think my biggest fear at this point is that I'm uploading content and at times quoting authors. And of course I'm presenting my own information, but when I do talk about what the author thinks, like I did with John Meacham in my video about Andrew Jackson, there were times when I literally said, this is what John Meacham believes, and that seems like it could be dangerous territory if you don't get that right and the author doesn't appreciate that. And I've tried my best to be careful and to look and see what they're writing. But those interviews in the future would be a nice addition to the workflow to get some feedback and see what they think. So good
Yeah,
on you for having that option.
there's some great videos out there where like they're just, elaborate interviews with professors.
Yeah.
And if you got like some audio clips, but at the very least, if you like wrote a script draft that featured the person's book and you emailed the author and said, "Hey, I'm writing this video and it's, borrowing heavily from your book. Would you mind like taking a quick look at it to see if there's anything that you think is misrepresented or anything that you find egregiously wrong?"
Exactly.
And if it's a short enough script, they can look at it in like, 10 minutes or 20 minutes
Yeah.
and they'll be able to say, all you want to know is yes or no, is this like accurate? And if not, then they'll tell you, and they'll tell you what you did wrong and you can fix accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
I also am trying out the new focus group system, which is where I have a handful of people that I have like selectively chosen to look at my scripts after I've written them and give pointers and advice and things. And I have a historian friend, a friend who is extremely picky when it comes to things, and he has a very, very discriminating tastes. So he actually is the Mikey who hates everything.
Dude, Tristan, I'm so sorry, man. When you said earlier the focus group, I thought you were kidding, and you were just talking about your wife.
No. Well, my wife is on the focus group, but I actually have like a small handful of people now.
That's cool. Okay.
Kelly takes a look at it too because she is really good at looking at sentences and making them sound better.
Mm.
And I have my good buddy Xander look at them, who I did. He runs Art Explains, a really great channel, but he's also really funny. And I always love to get the eye of somebody who has a pretty good sense of humor.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, this group of people, when they look at my scripts, I think made it a lot stronger. One of them jokingly made a joke about focus groups and basically said something along the lines of that my script needed more lens flare and more explosions. But
yeah, more naked women. That would definitely help spice up your history content.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
a video about Cleopatra. Okay. So do we want to jump into oh wait, before we jump into the content, everyone listening, we love you and we got actionable advice coming, but authentic accounts is the first part of our value statement. So here's one more. I am dying to get a new computer. My computer is dying out. I think I would have had my current video I'm working on it would have almost be finished by now, but it's only about halfway done because my computer is just not cooperating. So because I'm going to Madrid, because I'm going to be operating on the go, and obviously I can't take my desktop with me, that and the combination of the desktop crapping out, I'm getting a new laptop, which I hope is going to help me edit on the go and maybe at some point live the dream of being able to just take my work with me when I'm traveling to visit family or to go and see new places. I don't have to be tied to this office if I have a laptop that can get the job done. So it's the first investment I'm making with the money I've made from YouTube. Everything else up until now I've paid from my own personal expenses, and this is the first time I'm taking the AdSense money and actually saying I'm going to reinvest this in the channel in a serious way. So
all right, I have so many questions about this, and we definitely need to make this into something important for YouTubers tonight because you are going to buy a dedicated YouTubing machine. Have you decided on what you're buying yet?
I have. I've decided on the specs of what I'm buying, and I think I've got a product. I had a product picked out, but I couldn't get it here in Europe for whatever reason. I'm trying to get as close to the top of the line as I can, and I've got lots of specs. I don't know if we want to go into necessarily the nitty-gritty in the weeds of the specs, but I'll just say, like, everything from the amount of RAM in it to the series of the processor, and even having like video RAM has been like taken into account and is in the laptop that I'm going to buy. So I'm not checking out on anything.
All right, well then you definitely need to put in the show notes what laptop you ended up buying.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe when you actually get it, we can, maybe in a future episode, maybe next episode, we can talk a little bit about how it's going, but also what what the hunt was like for a YouTubing machine. I think that is, one of the key parts. Computers are kind of important in making YouTube videos, I've heard.
They
So,
are, yeah. Especially
maybe
when you're doing animating. When you're doing animating, it's like you can't. That's the problem I'm having with my computer right now. Is that it can cut clips together. I can add a picture and zoom in and out. But the moment I start going into After Effects and start using, complex Illustrator files, which I don't think my stuff's that complicated, but to the computer it is, everything just slows down to a crawl. So that my priority is getting something that can do it all a little bit faster so I can optimize my time.
So when do you leave?
I'm leaving Saturday, and we're recording this on Sunday, so I'm leaving in 6 days. And yeah, I'm going to be ordering with Amazon Prime. I mean, I think I'm going to have it ordered. I'm not going to make that purchase until I'm totally ready, but I think I'm going to have it ordered in the next couple of days.
All right, so how about 2 episodes from now, we take a big section and talk about how you hunted for this laptop, how the laptop's performing, and kind of the interesting realities of your mobile YouTubing unit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great idea because, there'll be nothing more authentic. It'll be just me, my computer, and my time. I have nothing but time next month to work on YouTube and to go jogging, which I never do. So,
all right,
should be fun.
Let's do the crap out of that episode. That sounds really good. I think that we need to talk more about tech. I mean, it's partially because of this podcast that you convinced me to upgrade my tech as I'm speaking into a Blue Yeti right now.
Woo! Yeah, Blue Yeti. Speaking of which, I swear this is the last thing, and then we'll actually get the content. You should have seen everyone here. I'll take a picture next time I do it. I recorded my video last week for my new thing. I actually recorded the video for it. I re-recorded the whole thing this week because I was not satisfied with the audio, which meant that I built up. What I did was I built basically a pillow, suitcase, and junk forts in my office. And I brought in our bed mattress and put it against the wall and basically created this cave in which I recorded. And I'm much, much happier with the way the audio turned out because of it.
Please say you took a picture.
I didn't take a picture this time, but I will be doing it again. So,
all right. Next time you do it, you have to take a picture. That is YouTubers United gold right there.
Yeah. Authentic experiences. Here I am in my cave. You want to talk about channel trailers?
Yes, I do. Because when I found out that you don't have one, I was shocked and appalled. So
I had one. I just don't have one at the moment.
So we got a very loyal podcast listener named Fable Reader on Twitter, and he asked us a whole bunch of questions about channel trailers. So he asked us, should you have one? What to include? Some tips on what to do in a trailer, and should you promote it? And then we go to prepare for this show, and you say you haven't made one in a year. And I'm just like, oh my God, Will,
Tristan,
what are you doing?
Dude, I don't know. I just, it's one of those things. It's on the bottom of my to-do list, and I never get around to it. It's awful, I know. It's terrible. So we're going to be leaning on you more in this segment to get us through, because I have some tips, but they're all hypocritical tips because I don't follow a single one of them at all.
Okay, so all advice that I have ever seen says that the trailer is quite possibly the most important part of your YouTube channel design. It's a video that somebody who goes to your channel page who is not subscribed to you has automatically play when they load up your channel page. You have a very short amount of time to convince them why they should push that subscribe button, which is a huge deal. This is, to many people, the only opportunity you have to get through to them. And so what it should be, a channel trailer should be short and to the point. You're selling the channel. You want to show all of how awesome your channel is, what kind of cool stuff you do, and, give your value proposition, why they should click subscribe, all in probably about 30 seconds max. And this is super important. And one of the things that I do is I make a new channel trailer every single year. It's my New Year's thing. So, like, after New Year's, in the, like, kind of twilight zone between when New Year's is done and when I have to go back to campus, I put together a 30-second channel trailer, and it just kind of outlines, what we've been doing and the kind of popular stuff. As far as promotion goes, I don't promote it. I don't, like, put it out on social media or anything like that. I also don't run ads on it.
Yeah.
But it's key. It's really important to getting your foot in the door. It'd be like having a conversation with somebody without saying hello.
Yeah, So I don't know if you heard my typing during your discussion there, or during your intro there, but that was me typing in my to-do list that I should make a channel trailer next month when I have nothing but time. So maybe this podcast is already paying dividends. This is fantastic. So I've got to get this done. You've inspired me. Listen, I gotta ask you the question. What I would give as tips. I'll ask us questions. Number one, how long should a channel trailer be? 1 minute, 30 seconds, 2 minutes? What do you think? How long is yours?
Mine's 30 seconds, and I aimed for that. I have seen a minute, but if you are going to make it a minute, you want to make sure that, like, the first few seconds are the most punchy. Like, if you want it to be longer, you can, like, have, show off a little bit more of the kind of stuff that you're getting into. Actually, I forgot. Mine is a minute long. Never mind. Okay, so rewind. Mine is a minute long, but still, the first 30 seconds, I want to cover what my channel is, why it is important or why it is worth subscribing to, what the value proposition is, and maybe some examples of cool stuff you've done. Mm-hmm. I also would put a link. I always am a fan of the kind of introductory playlist. And this is something that I've spoken with you back before we even started YouTubers United, which is to have a playlist of maybe about 5 to 10 videos that are the top videos on your channel if you divide views to subscribers. So if you go into your analytics and you find out how many subscribers your videos have made and how many views those videos have, the one that has the highest amount of ratio of subscribers to views should be the things on the list, because those are obviously the videos that have the highest chance of introducing new people or convincing people who haven't seen your channel before into subscribing. Mm-hmm. It almost always works. For some reason, my playlist always puts our really weird, tiny Iowa caucus video on as a really high example, but
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I did. I was looking at my channel a couple of days ago and saw our collaboration from a year ago, and I just thought, simpler times, how innocent we were back at 100 subs. That's funny.
We were different people back then.
Everything has changed. Everything. So you say 30 seconds is the ideal, maybe a minute, but having the most important thing at the beginning, which is, I assume you mean not only to have the beginning punchy, but to include a call to action as soon as you can. So perhaps telling someone within the first few lines to subscribe would help, and then giving them that call to action again towards the end. So giving them, multiple reminders, even in such a short time, to go ahead and click the button, which is, I guess, the whole point of the channel trailer anyway. Is that something you would agree with?
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly load up my actual trailer script, and I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
So the first 3 paragraphs, or the first paragraphs, I have a short paragraph on the kind of issue, the problem of YouTube history and history media in general. Mm-hmm. A second paragraph on kind of the value proposition of Step Back, which is this is something that we can do, that YouTube can have to increase and make, history education online better. And then the kind of short 1-paragraph story about what Step Back has been like. And then saying, if this is your first time here, go check out a special playlist of the channel's hits. And if you like what you see, subscribe. That's literally all you need to do. Mm-hmm. The script is 4 paragraphs long, 3 real paragraphs, and it's a minute. So you have so little real estate to make your point.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Uh,
Even
yeah.
now, I'm thinking I need to redo it. And when this is why I also suggest that one of my tips is remake your channel trailer every year. It is not like a set and done thing. Your channel changes over a year. Your art style changes. The way the channel looks changes. And so every year at least, you should come back and make a new channel trailer to kind of set off the new year in a good way, but also put your best foot forward.
I'm very, very, very inspired right now. And I also hate when people use the word very excessively like I just did, but I really am. I'm sitting here thinking that number one, I've been wanting to find a way to rebrand, not rebrand totally, but just establish and emphasize the branding that I've been kind of building over the last few months. And um, I was thinking, how can I do this? And the answer has been sitting in front of my face. You're being lazy. Make a damn channel trailer like a normal person would. I can't believe that I haven't done this yet. And
Keep in
I'll just
mind, as you can say to you, like, it is a 30-second video. So it's
yeah.
not like you're going to lose months and months of time on making it.
That's true. Fable Reader, and I know you go by Junkyard of Boredom on the actual YouTubes. I'll just tell you what I'm going to do next month. And if I don't end up following through on this, I'll come back and tell you it on the podcast. But I'm going to make a channel trailer that is in the exact style of my videos that I've been doing. So it will start off with, hi, I'm the political junkie. In February of 2015, I started this channel in order to blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to, by presenting it in my exact style, it also reflects what they will find when they actually watch the channel. So what I have seen in channel trailers that confuses me is when people make a channel trailer that has no connection to what they actually do in their videos. So Tristan, for example, in a good way, has a channel trailer that is animated with his little dude or his little puppet of himself, and it is in the style of his videos, which means there's a direct line to his content. I think that's really important. I'm going to be using my precise style as much as I can, and I think that that is a good piece of advice is don't stray far from what you do. Miniaturize your format into 30 seconds or a minute and create some sort of a direct connection between your trailer and your content.
Oh, yeah. And you'll start to see that it really helps. I have seen notable upticks in subscriptions through it, and if you look on the analytics for the trailer, you end up seeing that it gets viewed quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's something that doesn't get seen.
I'm thinking out loud here, Tristan, but I think I know why the channel trailer on my channel has gone so long without being updated. And that is because, or to the point where I just, delisted it and don't use it, is because I wasn't sure what my value was. Even over as recently as the summer when I jumped up to 10,000 subscribers, I still wasn't sure what it is that I'm offering. And I feel like I have a much more clear idea now than I did, which means now is a good moment to make that channel trailer and promote it. Fable Reader, you're going to do a trailer. I want you to go ahead and send it to us so we can give you some feedback on it, because I think Tristan's right. I think I maybe was just ignoring this. This is an important thing. And now that I think, if you go into your analytics, I don't think we mentioned this. If you go in your analytics, it's not just that like we think channel trailers are important. If you go in your analytics, you'll notice that most people aren't subscribing directly from videos. They're subscribing after they watch the video, click on your channel, and then hit the subscribe button on your channel page. Which does mean that putting on a good face and showing them a channel trailer seems like a logical thing to do that you shouldn't be ignoring.
Punch with every limb, Use every single tool that YouTube gives you to interact with your audience.
Mm-hmm. I have an example here and then I have a few other questions. So if you're looking for someone who did a pretty good job, in my personal opinion, I would go to the YouTube channel Draw with Jazza, which is a drawing art channel. He does some how-tos. He's good. He's got about 1 million subscribers. His channel trailer is a bit long. It's about 2 minutes. But what he does very well is he starts off in his style and he lists very clearly the types of videos that he does. And so by presenting that information so clearly and so explicitly, I think that his channel trailer is a good example and a good model. If you could take what he did and just compress it, it's a little long-winded. I think you'd have a successful channel trailer.
Yeah.
So now
And
oh yeah, go ahead.
Stuff. It's no, I was just gonna say good stuff.
Can I ask you a question then? Tristan, is your channel trailer titled channel trailer or is it titled something else?
Oh yeah, it's titled because I make one every year. I think mine is called like the video. This is the other thing about the channel trailer that you think you might have to worry about, but you really don't. And you don't have to worry about any of the things that you typically do. Like just you have to worry a bit about the description, but like tags and titles and all that stuff, not as important. This is not really the thing. It's not something that you want to be showing up everywhere, and this is not something you're trying to get onto search results and browse features. So it's literally called Step Back Trailer 2017, and the last one I made was called Step Back Trailer 2016.
Okay, so do you think that people who make channel trailers should go ahead and use that, or do you think I've seen some where it's not explicit that it's a channel trailer, it just says like the best barbecue videos on YouTube. I don't know where that came from, but you know what I mean. They just kind of title it something. Do you think that matters at all?
This is something where I wouldn't be considering myself an expert on, but in my mind, honestly, being open about it being a trailer might be better than not, because then you aren't tricking your subscribers into watching a video, introducing them to a channel they're already subscribed to in their feed. Honestly, if you can, I'm not exactly sure if you can, but if you post it as unlisted and just kind of put it in the trailer, honestly, I think that would be better.
Yeah.
What's the mode called? Yeah, mine is unlisted, so it won't even show up on my subscription feeds.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to push it. Yeah, you don't want to promote a channel trailer necessarily. Okay, next is my last question for you is, do you, Tristan, personally, do you subscribe to channels based on trailers? I don't think I have ever subscribed to a channel based on the trailer. I think I might be one of those people that subscribes based on videos and not based on channel pages. Do you do it that way? Do you actually watch the trailer and then subscribe?
Sometimes. I mean, we're both power users, so keep in mind that we're not like typical YouTubers. But also, if I like a video and I go to the channel to check out what other stuff they have, a trailer might actually give me some insight into what it is they're doing. Now, because I know like the anatomy of a YouTube channel page, I kind of always turn it off and just look around, because either I've decided to subscribe to it already before I even went to the page, or because I want to like go and look around at like their most popular videos or something like that in order to make my decision.
Yep.
But that's also because I've been on YouTube for over 10 years and I know what I like in channels. I know what I don't like already. I don't think that channel trailers are made to appeal to that kind of audience. They're meant to appeal to somebody who doesn't exactly know how a channel trailer or a channel page looks and what you're supposed to do and everything.
That's so true, man. That's so true. I like, if I watch a video of a channel and I like it, I might not subscribe in that moment. But if I find myself there a second or a third time, I might hit the subscribe button on the video. Or alternatively, if I watch one video and like it, I might go to the channel page and just organize their videos by most popular. I do that all the time. When you said that, I was like, yes, this is how it's done. Because in the end, like, that's really what matters. The only other factor I consider is I'll look and see if they're uploading all the time. Because honestly, if somebody's uploading every day or even like a few times a week, depending on what it is, I might not subscribe, because I don't like to get flooded with all that. That of course, the obvious exception is my news channels. I expect and hope for constant uploads, but there's some things where I'm just like, please don't flood me. But yeah,
I only have a few YouTube channels. I have a few channels that I have on like the notification squad stuff. So if there's a channel where I absolutely don't want to miss a video, I go with that. And then I have everything else. If I'm just subscribed, I will look at it maybe if I ever like, don't have any YouTube to watch and go on my subscription feed. But for the most part, I keep my notifications fairly tight. Yeah. So, if you're the Young Turks who posts like 800,000 videos a day, you're not.
For real though. So any more tips on channel trailers? So we've established that it's a good idea to have one, how long it should be, that you should have a call to action as close to the front of the video as you can, and then again at the end, that you should be authentic in showing what it is that you do, and maybe doing the video in your own style, not going too far off from that. Are there any other tips that we can provide before we move on to our next topic?
As I said, it's really important to know that this is not a one and done type thing, and to keep renewing it at some regular interval.
Good.
So the next piece we have on our little schedule, I'll tell you a little story, listeners, all of you out there. We're part of a super secret educational YouTuber community on Slack. You remember this?
You're not supposed to talk about it. How dare
Are we not supposed to talk about it? I actually don't know.
No, I think you're fine.
But it's a Slack group of kind of middle road YouTube channel YouTubers who help each other out. If you guys have been looking around and seeing the YouTube Valentine's Day thing.
Wasn't that adorable? That was great.
Yeah, that was kind of a project that they put together. But one of the things they did, and this was back in sometime around December, as you'll understand, they did a YouTuber helping YouTubers Secret Santa, where we were all partnered up with people and we were all supposed to give something to another YouTuber, either in the, in art or in collaboration or advice or something, just do something for the other channel as a fellow creator. And our channel review today is my fulfilling that part of the Secret Santa obligation in February.
Did we have to sign up for that? I'm just curious. I don't know. Maybe I need to go give someone a gift or something.
It was a sign-up thing. You had to sign up for it.
Okay, I should have signed up. Okay.
So Inez, for example, who will be coming on the show soon.
Spoiled our guest. Oh, no.
She got me, and she has offered to make me some art assets.
Ooh. And
I'm going to review my Santee. I don't know what you would call it. The receiver of our gift is going to be a channel review, because we haven't done one of these in a while, and I think the last one went down really well.
Yeah.
And this YouTuber, her name is Lais. She is a Brazilian YouTuber who runs a channel called YouTopia.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing to know about YouTopia is that there's a few interesting things that make it a little unique. It's a channel about ecology or climate change, talking about, how things that you can do practically to be better for the environment, to be a better steward of the earth, which I think is really cool. And it is done in a style that's kind of for younger audiences. We'll talk about that a bit later. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's really cool is that she releases her videos in simultaneously in English and Portuguese, which I think there's a lot of potential in that, because I just have a suspicion that Portuguese YouTube is very small. But there's a lot of Portuguese-speaking people. Yeah. Which I think gives it a lot of potential.
So I can tell you, Lais, that if you're going into Latin American, so Brazil and then Latin America, I know the ad rates are lower. I don't know what that means when you account for like Portugal. But I know a channel called Visual Politique that is a Spanish channel that does, so their audience is Latin America and Spain, and their ad rates are really low. So I think YouTube in Portuguese probably has a long way to go. I don't subscribe to any Portuguese channels, but I'd imagine that you're making the right choice financially, at least. I don't think that's your main goal, but just so you know, you're making the right choice financially and keeping your uploads in both languages, because I think your ad rates are going to be much lower for Portuguese. But maybe you can write us and tell us if that's the case in your experience so far. Tristan, since you brought that up so nicely, my question is, I was thinking about this when I looked at it, because I saw the simultaneous uploads, and my immediate thought was, should this not be two channels? But I don't know. Like, I have no authority to say yes or no. It was just my first question. Do you have an opinion on that?
I don't have a definitive answer, but it's definitely something that she should consider, because, as you were saying about wanting to get stuff that you don't want to see out of your feed. I think that this speaks to it because you're going to have 2 uploads every single time you make a video, and everybody who subscribes to your channel is not going to watch half of them.
Yeah.
So maybe you can have it, instead of having the bilingual channel, having 2 channels, because also your channel has most of its like outside stuff in English. And so what you could do is if you had 2 channels, you could do a few awesome things. One, you can design a YouTopia BZ, I think is like the 2-letter thing they use. Mm-hmm. And have like, your channel art, so sustainable development for non-superheroes, I think is your slogan. You could have that in Portuguese. You could have a Portuguese trailer. You can go to, your about section, which I think you need to flesh out a little bit more, can have all Portuguese stuff. You can have all the same social media stuff, but then also you have, you can bounce between your Portuguese subscribers and your English subscribers. I don't know. I think that this is one of the few cases where I'd recommend getting a second channel.
Yeah, please don't make this decision based on our advice because we're not YouTube experts, but please do go maybe look into it and just see what the options are, because I think you have good content. For those of you who are not familiar with her channel, if you go there, you'll see it's kind of like vlog style. You see it's like man in a camera, or in this case, woman in a camera, and she's talking about ecology, as Tristan mentioned, and it's just, for the most part, it's face to face with the camera, and occasionally there's some outdoor videos involved, and yeah, look into maybe splitting that up, because I don't know, it's a tough call, but
I think it's a good decision, just because splitting up all of the assets, like all of the art, so that you can have because right now, if you think about it, your channel is nominally an English channel with Portuguese videos, but if I were a Brazilian or a Portuguese person or someone from Mozambique, I think is the only other country that speaks Portuguese regularly, and I was going to your channel and I didn't speak English, I wouldn't be able to tell what your channel's about with anything but the videos that are released in Portuguese. And I think that there's a lot of value. There's a lot of stuff you can do by expanding and, like, capitalizing on Portuguese YouTube, because I imagine that that's a much smaller world. So you'd be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, which is always good. But also doing the English stuff is also, like, I don't say don't make English videos, but it means that you can serve both to the fullest extent. And just kind of going through to kind of promote Lace's channel to everybody here too. She has like a handful of videos. Like, I think that her vlog is actually really, really cool, because there's a lot of people talking about how YouTube, like, everybody likes being an environmentalist, or at least most people at least like, doing things that are good for the environment, but always think that, these are things that are over our head, it's too much to do. And so she actually has her vlog focused around things that you can do to be a better person to the environment, and talk about some of the cool, interesting backgrounds of the environmental impacts of the things we do. So, like, I'm looking at some of her most popular videos and talking about, like, questions like, should we or should we not eat meat? Which, as a Brazilian, she has a lot to say about, because cows are, the cheap Big Macs are, like, part of the reason why the Amazon's disappearing. Mm-hmm. Volunteering abroad etiquette. Can news be less negative? The minerals in your phone. 7 eco-friendly ways to die.
So it seems like we've jumped straight into the most serious. So we've jumped straight into, should you have 2 channels or 1? So I figure we can just go straight to the next most serious thing, and then we can kind of move into tips. Then the second most serious thing that I was wondering about is the target audience for this channel seems to be younger people. The videos seem to be edited in a way that speaks to teenagers and maybe university students. And I guess my question for you is, do you think, like, what are you going for, Lace? Is that the audience that you want? Is that who you want to appeal to? Tristan, do you have any thoughts on that about finding that target audience and really going for it?
Yeah. So if you want to, you have to really sit down and think about who these videos are for. So
We're channeling our inner Tim Schmoyer today.
so what you need to do is you need to think about who you're making your videos for. And this is very specific. And I think that you have a really strong target audience because there's a lot of teenagers on YouTube. And there's a lot of teenagers who worry a lot about their impact on the environment. I actually think that that's a pretty big overlap.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess what I would say about that is then in the future, you should think about that with all your videos. And if that's not who you're going for, that's just kind of the impression we both took away from watching your videos, then you need to think about what it is about your style, the decisions, and the things that you do that impact the kinds of viewers that you want to look for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I don't know, I'll give you an example about what I'm doing. So my channel is designed for a certain set of people. I have a target audience, but it's mostly people who didn't get the opportunity to get a history education, usually because of economic reasons. And so they're people who are post-secondary who are working and want something to intellectually engage them and let them learn a little bit of history, but because of their interests, but they never actually got around to doing it in school because, it doesn't make a lot of economic sense. Mm-hmm. Because it certainly didn't make economic sense to me. I'm saying that to future me who is in line for bread.
Yes.
What kind of
Welcome to Breadline.
So, Will, what kind of examples would you say? Like, who are you trying to target with Political Junkie?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So we're both channeling our inner Tim Schmoyer here. We're talking about, drilling down 3 levels and figuring out who is it for, and then being more specific. And I've come to the realization of specifically who my videos are for in the last year. I changed my channel slogan about a year ago to deeply informed. And so the target audience for my videos became people who already knew what was in the news but wanted to really know more. I feel like there are a million YouTube channels out there that will give you surface level information about anything you want to know about, whether it's politics or history. They'll give you their opinions, but nobody really, in my opinion, drills super way deep down on YouTube. And so that's kind of what I've been working towards doing in the last year, and I've gotten closer to that goal in the last few months. And so really, those are the people I'm targeting, is people who already know what's going on and are bored because they already know too much, which is a hard group of people to please, by the way. But that's really what I'm going for. And I'll just reword this advice in another way. So Tim Schmoyer says, drill down your target audience. I would say, go look at the influencer that you want to be most like, figure out who they're targeting, and then emulate that a little bit. I'm not saying copy people, but I am saying, think about the people that you enjoy watching and why you enjoy them, and see if you can figure out who their target audience is, even if they don't explicitly say it. So
now yeah. I do want to say a little bit about the benefits of the audience she is targeting now, because there's a lot of really cool things that give her channel a lot of room for aggressive expansion.
Yeah. Because
YouTube is a young platform. There's a lot of teenagers on the site. It's also a very female platform, our analytics aside. So there's a lot of women, and I think that women will be slightly more attracted to Lace's channel, not just because she's the host, but because of some of the topics she covers. Mm-hmm. Also, have you heard, you're a political person. You've heard of the BRICS, right?
Oh, yes. Brazil, Russia, India. Yeah. The BRIC countries.
She's the B.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's going on is that over the next century, Brazil, Russia, India, and China are expected to become the world superpowers. They're supposed to be the major countries in 2100. Because Brazil is going through massive economic expansion, which means
I'm sorry, Tristan. Maybe
Yep.
maybe you missed the big event on the 20th of January, but that's America's going to be great again, and therefore no, I'm kidding. Sorry. Yeah. There's no I don't know what you're talking about. These BRICS countries they pose no threat to a
Yeah.
great America.
Except for that one of them is literally running your country right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Brazil, Portuguese, great market. It's growing. Every day, Brazil is pulling itself out of poverty. And that means more people are getting phones, more people are getting laptops, and more people want YouTube in their language. Another thing, Brazil is a country that is very concerned about the environment, or at least the environment plays a large role in the mindset because everyone knows that their economic growth is linked to destroying the most beautiful untouched resource or untouched Amazon rainforest, whatever's left.
Mhm.
So they know there's a lot of discussion about their relationship with the environment. So you have and also Latin America, Brazil included, is demographically much younger than we're used to in North America. So there's a lot more millennials in Latin America, percentage-wise, than there are in the kind of countries we live in.
Dang, man, you make a really good. That's a really good argument. I'm gonna make a Portuguese channel now, even though I don't follow Portuguese.
Yeah, so there's a lot of young teenage Brazilian Portuguese-speaking women who are concerned about the environment because it is literally defining the future of Brazil, and you are perfectly positioned to take advantage of all of that growth because there's not a lot of YouTubers who do content in Portuguese
Mm-hmm.
compared to English. It's a much, much smaller field, so you can do a whole lot more. And I think that if you're going to choose that target audience, really drill down into it and find out what they're looking for, and really try to gear your content in that direction.
That was fantastic. And I don't know if I said this before, Lais, because we got straight into the serious topics, like the fundamental questions, and Tristan just presented that amazingly. But I don't think I said I really I do like your channel a lot, and I like your energy. When I watched your videos, I really enjoyed your on-camera presence. And you can tweet at us because I'm curious. Have you done theater? Have you done this before? You seem really, really like comfortable with the camera in a way that I don't think most people are. So we've kind of gotten through the big picture questions. Do we want to move on to some tips?
Well, I also should say that making videos in English also really good because it gives you an opportunity to show, because let's face it, most YouTubers are American. And so having something unique like I live in Brazil, have access to rainforests and monkeys and and I'm talking about the environment, talking about the rainforest when you could
Mhm.
actually go, or you have this kind of unique perspective because you're not American. I think that also has a lot of utility, and you can take advantage of all of our sweet CPMs, which is the basically money per 1,000 people that your ads get.
Oh my God. Yeah. And that's the perfect transition to what I was going to say, which is I think that you need to get outside more. Like your videos that you did film outside were gorgeous. And I found myself when I was just browsing through your content earlier today, wanting to watch those more than the ones that
Yep.
were obviously filmed indoors. So if you're in that environment, and I don't know exactly what you do, do you know Tristan? Is she a student?
I am not sure what her job is, but I should say, yeah, you're in a country that is, one, ridiculously beautiful.
Yeah.
Two, you're talking about the environment, which, having a little bit of greenery in your background would be good. Three, honestly, when it comes to your indoor content, the corner that you record in does create a lot of shallow reflections, which means that your audio comes off as a little echoey. So honestly, yeah, I think that one actionable piece of advice for you is go outside more and record more outside, because I think that it makes your channel, I think it makes your videos way better. And I think that would be a huge upswing for your channel.
Absolutely, dude. And there was I gotta find out which one it was. Pantanal video where you were outside and your thumbnail was clearly outside and the font in the thumbnail was nice and artistic, that really, really drew me in. Even though technically it was the least flashy thumbnail of them all, I wanted to watch that particular video, and I really like the way that you did that thumbnail.
Oh yeah, Lace's thumbnails are amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, there's one thing I wouldn't complain about is that you have very, very good thumbnails.
Yeah. That go back and look at that Pantanal one. I don't recall the exact title of the video, but you'll know what I'm talking about. That greenery with your face in the corner, and then boom, the text. I thought that worked really well. And I agree with Tristan, who is on fire today, by the way. I agree that you need to get outside more and enjoy that beautiful scenery and film and let us see it more, because it fits perfectly as well with the ecological theme of your channel. It's just too perfect up an opportunity to film than in your house, which Tristan mentioned a technical thing. I'll mention another one, a little nitpicky thing, and that is your autofocus goes kind of crazy sometimes. And I think it's because you do have such a great on-camera presence that you're moving. So I'm not an expert in these things, but what I would say is maybe turn off the autofocus and get yourself in focus before beginning the filming, and see if you can get a video that looks a little bit more crisp without a bunch of autofocus changing as you kind of shuffle in your chair a little bit.
Yeah, I think that that's all good advice, because although I would say that focusing on the audio first would be the first thing, because people can handle a bad visual with good audio more than they can handle bad audio with good visual. So if you're making the choice, choose that. But that also shows if you're going to be going outside more and you need to focus more on your audio, I think one of the first things that you could invest in would be a lav mic, which is a microphone that you can like clip to your shirt so that you can talk while outside and on location. I think that would be, because your camera's really good. I think that for vlogging, your camera's great. I think that you just need, like, if you were to buy another piece of equipment, that'd be the next thing I'd go for.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've got one more piece of constructive criticism and one more compliment.
Go for it.
I watched one of your videos. I believe it was the one about the world being overcrowded. And I specifically want to give you some commentary on that video that I think you can apply to the rest of your channel. So in that video, you professed your love of getting comments. It was a little bit half sarcastic, but I think that if you made that into some sort of a running joke on your channel where you're always talking about how much you love comments and that you always read them and how they like change your life, as you kind of sarcastically did in that last video about the world being overcrowded, I think that would really help with your engagement. It's just a little thing that I noticed that I think you could latch onto. Second, my piece of constructive criticism is your tags. I don't know if you noticed this as well, Tristan, but I was looking through, and in that specific video about the world being overcrowded, there were a lot of one-word tags: world, population, UN, funny. And I can tell you that you will not rank for those tags, and that you should consider, I mean, you can have a couple short tags in your video, no doubt, that are categorized, ecology, science, education, but you need to be focusing on the long tail tags. So the easiest way to do it, honestly, is to get one of the add-ons. So TubeBuddy or TubeBuddy or vidIQ, and use the Tag Explorer. Another really good way to do it is just to start searching in the YouTube search bar and see what kind of so like not just ecology, but rather start looking and seeing what YouTube is autofilling in when you type ecology into that bar, and start basing videos on that. Start using those long expressions in your titles and in your tags. You can email me or PM me on Twitter and I can explain maybe more what I mean. But by not using one-word tags but longer tags, you increase the chance that you'll actually rank for those search terms, which is how you end up getting some traffic to certain things. So if you go to my channel, there's some videos that you can use as an example. Obviously, the Berlin Wall video is ranking now for the Berlin Wall. But the video where I actually targeted SEO as much as I could was the History of Islam video that I did. So that video, A Short History of Islam, is the tags are micro-targeted. The title itself is micro-targeted. It's not just History of Islam, but rather a short, and I targeted short rather than brief. Like, I was very specific and deliberate in how I titled it. And I think you should do the same to bring in more traffic to your channel and really exploit the hell out of tags, because YouTube gives you the ability to use them. You should use them as much as you can.
Yes. So given like Lace has under 1,000 subscribers, and like at this phase in your channel's history, you should be focusing on trying to nail those tags and nail the search traffic, because that's going to be the way that you find new people to come to your channel. That's why I thought that your 7 eco-friendly ways to die is one of your most popular videos, and I think that that's possibly the reason.
Yeah.
And that's a really good way to do it. It's also probably why your your video about how to eat meat and fight climate change is a good video.
Yeah.
Because that also shows like that is the kind of questions that people would search for. So those are the kinds of things that I think until you hit about 1,000 subscribers, you should target.
So wait, let me just add one little thing there, Tristan. You mentioned the 7 Ways to Die video, which I watched as well. And I thought maybe this, like I was double checking to see if the tags were inconsistent. And I thought maybe this video would have some great tags, but it didn't. So it was again, the 1-word tags on the 7 Ways to Die list video. So that is like, that style of title is one that will get you views, but you have to link that style of title, the list thing that people love to click so much, with actual search engine optimized words that you've found. So that's just like, it's in the right direction, but I think there's a lot of improvement that can be done. And the good thing is you can go back to all these videos we're talking about and you can redo the tags. And if you want PM me, I'll help you do it. I'm not saying I'm a perfect expert, but I definitely use tags all the time. And
I'm supposed to be your secret Santa, so I'll do it.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, you could go back and redo some of these titles, go back and redo some of these tags, and really maybe see a big boost in traffic that you didn't even know was available to you.
Yeah, because I see so much potential in this channel. Honestly, I'm actually really excited to see where you go with this. I also you were talking a little bit about. Oh goodness, I've lost it now. What'd you say before tags?
I said something about her professed love of comments.
Oh yes, so you are a vlog. You have a vloggy style to you, and you want to be building a community. And I think that part of being a vlogger is that you are, in some ways, building a relationship with your audience. So they become, you have a back and forth with each other. So saying that you like comments, I think that Will is right that you should make that a regular part. But also, maybe if you are doing a video that was directly inspired by a comment, point out the person and mention that they commented asking about it.
Yeah.
And possibly, maybe in like the last 20 seconds when, your end screen thing is going on, maybe answer a few questions from comments. Do some of the things like that to build that relationship between you and the audience.
Yeah, there's a really good example of this. Amy Schmittauer does that, or at least she made videos where she said that she was going to do that. I think she's kind of changed her style since then, but she made a video. You can look for it. Her name's Amy Schmittauer, and I think the video was called like how to increase engagement on your videos, and it was about like engaging directly with comments at the end of videos as like an extra thank you to the audience. So that's a really good tip from Tristan.
Yeah, especially as a vlogger.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to build that relationship. I also think that if you are to keep this kind of process going and you want to build this relationship, maybe you should up your content speed. I'm not saying that you should be like always producing tons of these like really great like think piece videos, but like maybe you can do a few vloggy type videos alongside with your ecology stuff, and it's just kind of more about like your everyday environmentalist type of stuff, if that makes sense. But maybe give like a little bit more of your personal side over if you want to build that relationship, because especially with the demographics that we're assuming you're targeting, young girls really like that kind of building a relationship. There's a lot of like data that shows that out. And I do remember from one of the YouTube Academy videos that if you're targeting teenage girls, they actually have like they're very dedicated. They get very obsessed with things like that. And so if you establish that relationship, they will be very loyal fans. They will share you. They will shout you from the mountaintop. So
that's true. I can see a lot of different directions for your channel that you're like seeds you've planted but haven't totally pursued yet? Like the list thing we just mentioned, Tristan's mentioned, targeting that specific teenage demographic. I could see you also doing, we mentioned outdoor travel and environment and even lifestyle. There's so much, I could even see you monetizing the channel by doing the typical haul, but like eco-friendly hauls of, eco-friendly products and food. There's so many possibilities. And so, yeah, I guess that let's leave it on a high note from me. There's a lot of potential, like Tristan said, and I'm really excited to see how your content develops, because that's eventually, that's what you're gonna do with time. Is you're gonna evolve and you're gonna build a community in your own way, doing one of the things maybe we mentioned or something that we didn't even expect. So looking forward to seeing where you go.
And as your friend, as I said, I am totally willing to help you along with this as your secret Santa to, get you on your way.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So we have one last little bit to talk about before we let our poor people onto their episode of Radio Lab, which is obviously coming up next.
It is coming up, but it's always Radio Lab after us. It's
everybody who listens to our podcast, they listen to us and then Radio Lab, and then they're done.
By the way, if anybody is a big podcast listener, which I assume if you're listening to us, you are, you got to check out the craziest podcast I've ever listened to. Was the Joe Rogan Experience interview with Alex Jones last week. It was the craziest thing. It was 4 hours of just nuttiness. So if Radio Lab's queued up next, get rid of that quality content and go have a deep dive into some insanity. We have a question for our Q&A. Our Q is from Patrick from I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy or this channel. Name Explain. Name Explain. Do you know him?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a young whippersnapper with a very fancy beard, a love of professional wrestling, and has gone through a huge channel explosion over the last few months.
And this guy has the audacity, with his level of growth, to come and ask us questions where we're both in the trickle and he's in the explosion flood format, and now he's asking us for help. So here we go. Hello, Will and Tristan. Big fan of your podcast and YouTube channels. I recently realized what videos do best on my channel: videos about countries. They will normally get a high amount of views and help numbers across the board. While I enjoy making all of my videos, the ones about enjoy making videos about countries, however, are not my personal favorite to create, and I find videos about other topics more interesting. So my question is, should you, when trying to make it on YouTube, create content you enjoy and feel more passionate about, or videos you know will do better business, but your heart isn't in them as much? So for those of you listening who don't know Name Explain, he makes etymological videos where he'll take the name of something and he'll give you the history behind the name and explain why it has that specific name. And he's had a lot of success recently, specifically because, and I went and looked at his most viewed videos, because of videos that deal with countries. So why are Australia and Austria so similarly named? But just as a counterexample, Patrick, I did notice that your second most viewed video is about our friend Mr. Hitler. So that is one video that breaks that mold. And also our collaboration about the GOP and the Tories definitely also made it to the top 10. So it's not to say that everything that has to do with countries are the only ones that can get views, but you are right, there is a trend. So Tristan,
Hitler is YouTube gold.
Yeah. So Tristan, after that long-winded reading of mine, what do you think? Should he be focusing on his passions, or should he be focusing on what's going to get those clicks and bring in those pennies from the AdSense?
Well, Patrick, this comes down to a lot of your long-term goals for Name Explains. If it is a personal passion project that you don't really have a plan to convert into a pure business, and I know that you're still, you're just starting university. Like, this guy's super young. He just finished high school. He just started university like last in September or October because it's the UK. But yeah, so you are in a position where you have a long time before you have to worry about your videos being able to run on your own, because you have a few years. So if you wanted to pursue some passion projects, like things that you enjoy doing more, I wouldn't be against doing that. But every once in a while, consider giving people their red meat and do occasional country videos, especially if it's one that you particularly find interesting.
Yeah.
This is why if I had just listened to what makes large views come into my channel, I would have made all of my videos about world religions and Native Americans. And because those are my videos that are the most successful. And so I would say that you don't want to do so many videos just for the money and the clicks that you hate doing your channel. But you also need to know that sometimes you just got to chum the waters in order to keep interest up. Yeah. And keep in mind that since you are in a position with your channel where you could very easily be living off of your channel very soon, I would recommend, but you also have a long time to get finished because you still have your entire bachelor's to do. I would say that you're in a good spot. You have a lot of time that if you want to ease off on the country videos, you'd be perfectly fine in doing so. And maybe pick it up more towards the end of your university degree if your plan is to like go into a full-time YouTube career after your 4 years are up.
So
or 3 years. I don't know how long university is in England.
I think you hit on the key point, which I think is what is sustainable. That's the ultimate question you got to ask is, if you only do country videos, are you going to keep doing your channel in 3 years? Like, are you really going to do only country explanations for the long term? I think you already know the answer to that question. The answer is obviously no. And the obvious answer, I think, and I think what Tristan's hinting at is just mix it up, dude. You're growing so fast right now. You're at the perfect opportunity right now as you're blowing up from 30 to 40 to 100,000 subscribers. The great advantage you have right now is you're still forming in the mind of your audience what it is that your channel does. So these new subscribers, they've subscribed in the last couple months, most likely, and now is the chance to show them the different things that you can do. You have the perfect opportunity. You're still branding yourself. You're not established as the guy who does this, right? Like if Vsauce uploaded a video of himself playing the saxophone tomorrow, we'd all freak out because it's not what we've come to expect from him. If you change it up a little bit right now, especially with something as trivial as just what name you're explaining, right? These are topics that are malleable, then you're going to be just fine. And in fact, as Tristan alluded to as well, it might not just be country videos. Maybe you just haven't found that other big hit. And it maybe those are the videos that you haven't designed yet that'll make your channel go even bigger. So mix it up, man. Do, I don't know, 1 out of every 3 videos, do a country video to keep your growth up, or 1 out of every 5, whatever you feel comfortable with. But I feel very strongly, and I think Tristan feels the same, that you got to go with your passion, because in the end, if you're going to be doing this over the long term, you'll drive yourself crazy. There's some YouTubers I look at, I'm going on a rant now, but there are some YouTubers I look at who you can tell they're tired of doing the same old, but they know if they change it now, they're going to piss off their audience. And that is the worst. Think about all the work you put into a YouTube channel just to get trapped creatively. That's a nightmare. You're in a perfect position right now to change it up.
Yeah, and I mean, you're avoiding yourself from getting typecast, but also keep in mind you're in a very comfortable position. You're growing very fast, and you have a long time before you have to worry about using YouTube to pay the bills. So enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Have fun. Experiment. Do weird things. Show off that amazing beard of yours. Like just do some fun stuff, because yeah, you're in a very good spot, and I think that you can try a whole bunch of new stuff. I have some experimental video ideas that I've had dancing around in my head for a while that I might be inspired to do, but you're in a different position. So
same here. And I know from like just his most recent upload, which to be honest, I haven't watched yet, but I know it's about dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. So you obviously have made this decision already that you're going to make it up, switch it up a little bit. I think that's a good thing, man. You have to be creatively diverse. You're going to go crazy. At least that's what I would do. And the other thing that you really have working for you is your upload frequency. So it's not like you're not like me where I'm stuck every 4 to 6 weeks, or over Christmas it was like 8 or 9, whatever. Let's not talk about it. But you're uploading now pretty consistently every week, every 2 weeks. It looks like. I mean, you have flexibility there with that upload schedule twice a month. I think you told me to to change it up, because in the end, if it doesn't go well this month, just change it up for next month. Like, you're in a great position, as Tristan said. You're doing great.
Yeah, you're in a good place.
Have
to
we
make
said that yet?
mistakes,
You're
get
doing
messy.
good.
All right. I think it's time that we put this show to bed, shall we, for another week. So before you go to Radiolab, consider going onto iTunes and making us a little review. They help out so much in getting this show out to new people. And if you know another creator, of course, tell them that our show exists, because we're awesome.
Yeah.
And we want to help more people feel like they've got friends on the long, hard, and sometimes arbitrary path to greatness.
Hell yeah. Well said.
You can check out the website at youtubersunited.com or Y2 United Podcast on Facebook or Twitter. And if you prefer to listen to the podcast as a YouTube video, we actually have that covered. So we're YouTubers United on YouTube as well. And I hope you guys have a great week.
Well done. Well done.
We're gonna next episode. We're gonna be the first show where one of us isn't in Germany.
Yep.
See you later.
Bye, guys.